I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times.
And you guys have already seen that commercial, so you don't care.
But it will be going away soon. Retiring. All right. Up next. Well, let me get that timestamp.
Oh,
208.
shit. Yeah, good call out, controller. Good call out. Okay, you guys, unfortunately, that commercial might be going away pretty soon. Unfortunately for you people.
But it will be replaced by another one you may enjoy. Okay.
Norway has piles of money that will just grow. I'm sure we're going to find some way to exploit that.
Schandmaul, Bunt und Nicht, Braun.
Bunt und Nicht, Braun?
That's my
I don't know
interpretation.
what that means. Night
Northern
something?
Scoundrel, aka Controller of Minds, says, seen them 4 times now. This picture is from 2014. Okay.
Northern Scoundrel is like the most dedicated person to live metal I've met in my life. Have you ever seen him do a pick that he didn't go to a show
That's true.
from?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like,
here's the picture in case you want to see it.
You know, like the Muslims have Hajj. This guy, like he's like a legitimate. You know how you have your passports?
Yeah.
You know, all the stamps and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see his, like, metal passport.
Oh, yeah.
That dude would have, like, books and books of that shit. Like, that's why, you know, like, that, I want to take, one of these years, I'm just going to take a year and just, like,
go all over the place
and see big bands, little bands, play it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just an entire year dedicated to metal.
Well, that'd be crazy. Okay. Let's check them out.
Sean on TV's like, we really look forward to the new commercial. We got that?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get right now.
Okay. We're at 210.
Let's
210.25. All right, guys, here we go. The name of this song is in Espanol. No, not Espanol. What's
is that German?
What's the name of the band again?
Schandmaul, Bunt und Nicht, Braun.
Nicht, Braun.
It's the best I can do.
Here we go.
German.
Not what I was expecting.
Hast du ne Macke, nen Makel vielleicht? Dann komm her und reinig hier ein. Steh zu dir selbst und zu dem, was du bist. Dann laden wir dich herzlich ein. Deine Hautfarbe ist uns doch völlig egal. Woher du kommst schon sowieso. Ob du ausgeflippt bist, was ist schon normal. Hauptsache des Lebens froh. Wir sind ein Spielmannshaufen, beste Freunde der Welt. Haben Ecken und Kanten, das ist das, was uns gefällt. Wir spielen für die Freiheit, gegen genormtes Sein. Auf unserem Kreuzzug für mehr Toleranz laden wir ein. So tragen wir ihn in die Welt, unseren Traum. Narren sind bunt und nicht braun. So tragen wir ihn in die Welt, unseren Traum. Narren sind bunt und nicht braun. Kein Mensch ist perfekt und zum Glück ist das so. Stellt euch vor, wir wären genormt. Es ist doch die Vielfalt, die einzigartig macht, die aus Teilen Individuen formt. Gibt es den einen, den wahren Glauben, oder sind es doch noch viel mehr? Wir lassen uns nicht unserer Träume berauben, unserer Liebe und Gefühle nie mehr. Wir sind ein Spielmannshaufen, beste Freunde der Welt. Haben Ecken und Kanten, das ist das, was uns gefällt. Wir spielen für die Freiheit, gegen genormtes Sein. Auf unserem Kreuzzug für mehr Toleranz laden wir ein. So tragen wir ihn in die Welt, unseren Traum. Narren sind bunt und nicht braun. So tragen wir ihn in die Welt, unseren Traum. Narren sind bunt und nicht braun. Band. Lasst uns beieinander stehen. So tragen wir ihn in die Welt, unseren Traum. Narren sind bunt und nicht braun. So tragen wir ihn in die Welt, unseren Traum. Narren sind bunt und nicht braun. Und so tragen wir ihn in die Welt, unseren Traum. Narren sind bunt und nicht braun. So tragen wir ihn in die Welt, unseren Traum. Narren sind bunt, nicht braun.
No.
Oh,
Okay, this
But-
song is definitely.
but-
We're gonna do some
but-
demerits. The song was too short.
but it was so happy sounding.
Why did you cut the song?
Yeah.
So short.
Who
Damn it.
dare you?
Who dare you?
Dare you?
This
you know
was
what?
is it that's some punk, right? The dun, 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 dun,
It
that's,
had that folk sound to
dun,
me,
dun,
like,
dun, dun, that's punk, right? That's a punk progression. No?
I mean, you'll probably hear the punk progression. To me, it had like that kind of sort of folk sound to it. Like I pictured like a pub, you know what I mean? Like people, actually what I really pictured, you know, they had those outdoor like sort of
Who killed his
parties?
own people?
They
Somebody
hook
killed their
arms
own
and
people?
arms and dance around.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah, like at
the,
church.
the merry pole
That
and
Ian
like,
dude at church. Remember he used to do that? Like
big things of beer.
He'd stomp the ground. You know what I'm talking about? Ian from Cell?
Oh
Like,
yeah.
when he got into that shit, he would like
Yeah.
everybody was like, yo, alright, cool. yo,
Yeah.
Let's make some noise. Beautiful, beautiful song,
Oh, this
man.
is cool. Okay, so here it is live. I'm sorry, I just couldn't help it. This is pretty cool. She's playing that like this flute
She's playing
thing.
it's a clarinet, right?
Okay, I don't know much of this. And look, there's this girl back there playing the violin.
folks
That's
can't
really
see you.
cool. I know, but I'm telling them. I just said I clicked on a live video because I couldn't help it. I wanted to see what the band
The
looked
band
like.
has stated they normally don't do political issued lyrics, but due to the rise of the far right in Europe, they felt the need to make a statement against fascism.
Oh.
So, yeah, that's
Okay.
why people would be like, like when we first started the channel, like, keep the politics out of it. I'm like, man, what the hell are you talking about, bro? like it's life, man. It's life. It's not like, you know. I understand to a degree. I understand, like, especially if you get really picky-yoon about, like, tax codes and things of that nature. Like, I get it. But, like, not being engaged in the political process
I can't
brings us
imagine
shit
somebody
like
would do that.
$500 billion to Ukraine.
No, it's true.
Or brings us situations like the shit that's going on right now where we're funding a genocide of people who can't defend themselves.
Yeah.
So, like, I get it. Like, nobody, you know, but
things are changing because this next generation is taking politics more seriously.
People aren't playing. Playing about it.
Yeah.
You know, so like I get
Sometimes
it.
the younger people in our chat, I'll be like, "Oh, I'm so surprised that they came up with that." Like the stuff that the younger ones pick up, and I'm like, "Good for you guys."
Yeah, that's a pre 9/11 sort of ethic. You can have that ethic pre 9/11 as American because we were insulated from all that shit. But now it's like you can't. It just can't be done. Like you got to deal with it. So, but I understand the balance. Like if there are other voices that are, you know, handling the situation, then I as a band don't necessarily need to touch on it. Right? So I can be the escape or the cathartic element for things. But sometimes even the band has to say, this is too much.
Well, I think the other thing too is like a band is expressing artistically what they're noticing or what they feel internally. And if they are seeing the political stuff and they want to put like their boots to the ground on it, that's how they do it. And I think that, you know, like there's got to be some bands that are like, you know what, there's too much of that. And what they feel is like the stress and the toll that war and all of that politics and stuff takes on all of us.
Yeah.
And so they're like, you know what, there's too much of that. Let me just focus on the other stuff. So, you know, I think it's important that, I mean, even when you think about, they used to have like musicians go to where the army was meeting to give them some reprieve. They still do that?
Still do that, yeah.
Oh, okay. So.
Yeah. Yeah. So art, you know, it's there. Like, I get it. But art is inherently political, especially music, because music has to do with the polity, and the very language that you use has to do with the polity.
Mm-hmm.
It's borders, language, culture.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you can't, you know, and interestingly, that's what's going on with Kendrick and Drake. That's what's happening.
Yep.
If you don't understand hip hop, and if you don't understand the relationship that Black people have had with certain communities, you know, like there's a lot of things that people are missing in this whole conflict between Drake and Kendrick that we understand. Like there's a lot, and it would take a long time to like parse all that shit out. But Kendrick is he was a lot smarter in the way that he went after the devil than Kanye was. So
right.
He went right to the line and didn't say it because all of us know what he's talking about. But outsiders do not. They truly don't. And so it's like, yeah, man, like, it's a lot easier to be political in rap because rap is a lyric-focused genre.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of real movement that gets made because of art. And Muhammad understood this. And that's why Muhammad, when he really started to get some power, he would send his folks on these kill missions. And the people that he wanted to kill were not generals, and they were poets. So Muhammad had a bunch of poets killed because they were saying things about him and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
But he understood that if this thing gets popular, it's going to get into the zeitgeist, and I'm going to have a lot harder time. And so he very wisely, I'm not saying it's good, but he very wisely deployed his folks to take those people out. You know? So
I think
that just shows you the power of art.
Yeah, art has a way of bringing in your like soul or emotions in with your mind. Like they kind of work together. So it gets people thinking, but also feeling at the same time. So I could definitely see why he did it.
Did you see the Kendrick concert? Yeah, the Juneteenth concert. It was
It's crazy.
Me and Johan were watching it, and it got so emotional that like he gave me this giant hug, and I like had a tear. Like, yeah, because if you don't understand all the subtext of what's going on at that show, like. And even the title of the song, like it was just we needed that, and we didn't even know how much we needed that. You know what I'm saying? So that
you could hear it in the crowd, though.
Yeah, man. Like I was telling him, I'm like, you know how many bodies are on that stage right now? There's Bloods, Crips, Pyrus, Neighborhood, all them dudes out there. Like,
I think for me that was what I really like to see because there's so much division. You know, like you have the Chicago brothers, they're just killing each other and they're in the same families and all these different things. And like to see the Crips and the Bloods up there doing stuff together and they're not trying to kill each other up there. Like, I don't know. I liked seeing that. I liked seeing the vibe and the energy that everybody was carrying when that was going on. It was just crazy. It was just crazy that it was to the exclusion of Drake. You know what I mean? It was like, that's what brought them together.
Drake and all them folks, man.
Drake represents. Drake represents.
Yeah. That's interesting because the fascists. That's why the fascist fundamentalists are going after artists. They don't want that criticism in any form. Yeah. And you know that's why I said like that's why that previous band had to kind of hide the political criticism under something like Puppies because like that way the message gets out there. You know, it's smart. Like all these artists have ways of doing what they need to do to get things done. Yep. And I'm gonna be 100 with you, controller. I think the term fascism has been overused to the point of
it's lost.
To the point it doesn't mean anything anymore, unfortunately. I still think it's a danger, and I think there's a zeitgeist or a spirit of control. That has always been part and parcel of human nature. It seems that fascism found a way to extract that from the human heart and then kind of harden it in these political systems. And so that's a very, very dangerous thing when you have people that are talented and able to do that. Do you have a quirk, a flaw maybe? Then come and line up here. Stand up for yourself and for what you are. Then we invite you to join us.
We don't care about the color of your skin, where you come from anyway. whether you're freaked out, what is normal.
The main thing is to be happy.
Be happy.
That's not the main thing, though.
No, they're saying in this right now.
Yeah,
like what they're doing. They're saying come together and be happy.
It's not true.
You're saying...
That's not true.
What's not true? That's not what they're doing?
The main thing is not to be happy. And I'll tell you why. There are millions of people on this planet that are only happy when other people are being oppressed. Right? So if I say to our group the main thing is to be happy, probably what's going to happen is people are going to smoke some weed. They're going to get into some weird sexual shit. See what I'm saying? Like our crowd. Mm-hmm. But what if I went to a MAGA? I'm just using this stereotype, guys, because I'm trying to be, What if you went to a MAGA crowd and said, do what makes you happy?
Yeah, but no, he's saying come to this concert. He's saying come up here, stand up for yourself, right? Isn't that what he's saying? Then come and line up here. Yeah, I thought it's like literally just like drawing everybody in for the concert and the song and saying like, let's just be happy here.
Can the Trump people come with the Make America Great Again hat in that group? How do you think that would go? You think one of these? I was just watching one of these. They're European. I don't know who they are, but they're European and they're here and it's like some Viking shit. And it's basically nobody other than these European people are allowed, and everybody's calling them all these names. I don't have a problem with that. You know how I am. Like that's your people.
Yeah.
But there is an assumed kind of morality in this song, and the assumption of the morality is we will accept everybody who's a freak and a little bit weird, but you won't accept a fascist or what you consider a fascist to be. And I think that that's right. All of us have exclusions. Here's another one. There are millions of people on the planet that are happy with hurting children. We're going to tell them, and they were born that way. We know that they're born that way because nobody would wake up and say, I'm going to fuck up my life today and hurt some kids. Are we going to tell them, hey, just do what makes you happy? We'd say, well, of course not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm saying is there is an assumed morality in the song that's not really explicit, mm-hmm. But the minute you start testing certain things, people go, well, no, you can't show up with a KKK hood, you can't show up with a Nazi armband, you can't show up with a MAGA hat, mm-hmm. you can't show up with an image of a child. You see what I'm saying? That's literally millions of people we're talking about here. So I understand the reaction against fascism. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that people look upon as fascism, which is not, but it's I'm right, you're wrong. People now call that fascism. If you say I'm right, you're wrong, you're a fascist. But wait a second. But we believe that though. We believe that people who are racist are wrong, that they're fundamentally wrong, and there's nothing that they have to say that we need to learn from them now. Mm-hmm. We believe people who hurt children are just fundamentally wrong. I don't think anybody in our crew is going to say, you know what, I'm going to let a child lover, I'm going to let him have his day in court. Let me hear what he has to say. None of us feel that way. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, shit, man. I'll tell you what. If you showed up at that Kendrick concert with a Star of David, I don't think it'd go well for you. Mm-hmm. So, like, I get it. And I get the desire to let's bring everybody together. But if we're living in the real world, we have to say that there are millions of people that we would exclude from our club. And that's because these people, and I mostly agree with these people believe that they're right and that the fascists are wrong. And that's why they have to speak about it, because it's growing in their continent. Fascism is spreading in their continent, and whatever they consider fascism to be is spreading in their continent. And they believe fascism is wrong. They think it's wrong. They think it's dangerous. Mm-hmm. And they don't think that it should have any quarter in Europe. Okay, does that now make you a fascist because you're drawing a hard line in the sand and you're saying these people are wrong? Mm-hmm. So I just think that we've got to be a lot more nuanced in what we're talking about. And I think for the first time, people are now being challenged. Like the core principles of all of our worldviews are now being challenged. Do you have a system that can practice some internal consistency? Mm-hmm. That's very hard to do. I believe in hearing them out on their struggles and concerns. Where there are dead wrong is their solutions. Okay, that's cool. But again, any fascist will tell you that. They'll say, yeah, I'll listen to what you have to say about race mixing, but your application of miscegenation is dead wrong. They feel the same way. Mm-hmm. So, I'm not, obviously we know that, Northern Scoundrel, we know that he would listen to anybody. He'd listen to the devil. He's just a gentle kind of person. But you also have a very clear moral code. You have a very clear moral system. And that's why you said that these people are dead wrong in their applications. They don't believe they're dead wrong in their applications.
Right, right.
So where are we getting this paradigm from that they're wrong in their application of these things? And who determines that stuff? I love the spirit of it, but I don't think that we, especially our generation, we got to think a lot harder about these things. Mm-hmm. Just broad brushing everybody on the right wing is fascist and everybody on the left wing is, communist or whatever, is very effective for political actors who do not have your best interest at heart. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. These overly simplistic, I'm gonna put a swastika on your jacket because you said XYZ. I saw it all the time in America. During the whole Trump administration, I saw it all the time. Anybody that wore a MAGA hat, oh my God, that's like the KKK hood. And it was crazy. It was insane. And we weren't able to talk to each other anymore because now people were literally triggered by a hat with some letters on it. You know what I'm saying? So, and it got to the point where Kanye is out there meeting with this dude, advocating for black people. And then you had black people telling Kanye he was crazy. But he got it done. He got the prison reform thing done for him and his crazy wife. They're crazy. They actually got some shit done because they jumped over that line and went to talk to dude. Yep. And I get very concerned now this broad brushing fascism now can turn off the mind of a leftist. Controller is different because his mind doesn't shut off. But that's not the majority report in our generation. Yeah. Our generation have been the most programmed group of people on the face of the earth. Because now you're color-coded. White hat, red hat, white letters, bad person. Like, literally, you're color-coded. It's just like, red light, green light, yellow light. Like, that's what's been going on. And so, anytime I hear about fascism, I'm like, wait a second. What are we talking about here? Are we talking about a person on the right wing who believes that they're right? Because if you say I'm right and you're wrong, now all of a sudden that's fascism. So that's all I was saying. I want to challenge those ideas. I doubt that the MAGA hat wearers are fascists, but most of the GOP politicians certainly are. Controller, God bless you, but you can't even name half the GOP politicians, bro. You can't even name these people. You don't even know the first thing about these people. How do you know they're fascists? That was a very specific time in history, and that has a very specific set of issues that go along with it. So, here we go. Fascism is associated with socialism. And are the right-wingers socialists? No. Who are the socialists? Bernie Sanders. Okay, Bernie Sanders is a fascist. Mm-hmm. Or Bernie is a communist. That was the big one. That was the big one over... That's what fucked him up with... I forgot who it was. Remember, Jen went crazy about it? Because Bernie said something about... Who did he say? He said Castro. He said, Castro was horrible, but he educated those people. And that was, my God, Bernie Sanders is communist. And then, of course, the Republicans had already had this narrative that he's a communist because he wants to give everybody health care.
Why do you think people do that? It's just easier to not think too deeply into it?
Because you can program people into shit, and you don't want to be a fascist, do you? You don't want to be a communist, do you? So now if you're a right-winger, and you're like, well, I don't know, I think it'd be pretty cool to not have 25-year-old kids die because they're rationing insulin. I think that would be... Mm-hmm. Well, you're not a communist, are you? Oh, no, fuck that, man. If that kid died, let him die. That's what that does. And the term fascism works. It works the exact opposite. It works the exact same way. Like if somebody says, I'm not really a fan of sending all that money to Ukraine. Who else? I want to take care of we got shit going on here. Oh, are you an American isolationist? Fascist? Is that what's going on? Oh, you support Vladimir Putin. You know what I'm saying?
No, I get you, yeah.
And we gotta, I'm not in Europe. So these guys are sensing something in the atmosphere. And they're saying, man, this has happened over here before, right? Because Stalin, there's all Europe. See what I'm saying? Right. It's God's chosen people. And what are the Israelis? Isn't that interesting how nobody attaches the term fascist to the Israelis?
Yeah.
And those motherfuckers are dropping bodies every 5 seconds over here. Isn't that interesting? So for me, it's like, man, you know, because now I'm an anti-Semite. I wouldn't disavow Kanye. I'm an anti-Semite. I don't believe we should kill 16,000 fucking children when they're trying to get bread. I'm an anti-Semite. All these terminologies now don't mean anything to me. Like, it doesn't.
Yeah, because
they've lost all their meanings because these politicians, unfortunately, have grasped these terminologies that are real, that are consequential, and have now diluted the actual meaning of it so that they could convince people to join their political party without convincing them, because now we're just going to use fear tactics. So, oh man, yeah, I understand. Like, I understand you want to prioritize America, but man, this guy right here, man, come on, you don't want to be a fascist. Your left-wing girlfriend won't have sex with you if you. I'm serious. It's that deep. It's that deep. You know. So but again, we're not in Europe. We're in America. So I don't know what's going on over there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But apparently this band, which seems to be kind of like happy-go-lucky, they're like, yo, like, this is a problem. This is an issue. The main thing is to be happy. We're a bunch of players, best friends in the world. We have rough edges. That's what we like. We play for freedom against normalcy. On our crusade for more tolerance, we invite. Mm-hmm. And then it says, so we carry into the world our dream. Fools are colored and not brown. I think that
translation.
Controller had a hold on. I'm gonna read what Controller said. The actual, for all you guys who don't know, that this guy's like a native speaker of these languages. Okay, so
because this is German. Like
he's from these areas. The title translates to, here's what the title translates: "Fools' gestures are colorized, not brown." Is what that means. So just, they're not trying to make anything against brown people or anything like that. Just want to put that out there. There's Mojo. Bernie Sanders is a fake communist. I get it. I get you. No man is perfect, and fortunately, that's the way that it is. Imagine we would be standardized, but it's the diversity that makes us unique, that forms individuals from cells. So it's good that not everybody's the exact same way is the idea. Mm-hmm. And I think that's true to a degree. Mm-hmm. Okay, most of us like not the same way about what though. We got a guy who says if somebody comes to your neighborhood and says something reckless to you, shoot him in the face. Okay, his name is Davon, and he's going around telling everybody, man, if you mess with my friend, I'll shoot you in the face. That's not to be celebrated. Mm-hmm. Right. I'm not going to say that's what makes humanity unique. That you're a murderer. Uh-huh. Right? So like, there is an assumed baseline morality that's in the universe of this song that you have to assume for the song to work.
I agree.
It is not saying everybody's various ideologies are equal. Mm-hmm. Right? I've got a friend right now, and it's funny, I'm not going to mention his name because I don't want somebody to do it to him again. But dude is he's a real Nazi, real racist, whatever, N-word dropper, whatever you want to say. It's going back and forth from Twitter. I'm like, you gotta stop. And people are gonna ban you, bruh. And somebody called me up and said, yo, this guy said this in your comment section. And I was like, yeah, man, that's him. And they're like, well, I mean, like, that's racist. And I said, yeah, I'm black, I know. This is a white person calling me. And they're like, well, we need to get him out of the community. I said, nah, that's his. He's not hurting anybody. He's not. They're like, well, he's hurting me. And I'm like, well, don't read his comment. But nah, leave him alone. They found some way to ban the dude. And he didn't know that he was banned for like years. Yeah, like he's like, he hit me up on Twitter. He's like, I was like, nothing to do with it. Like, I know exactly who did it. I'm not even gonna touch it. I'm not gonna deal with it because I love that person way more than this other guy. So, but like all the people that were using the term fascist have no time for this guy. He doesn't believe in race mixing, whatever. So it's like, we're not going to hear anything you have to say. Nobody's looking at that dude and being like, well, that's what makes us unique. Vin and Sori are practice miscegenation, and he hates miscegenation. That's what makes us all unique. Nobody's saying that.
No.
So, like, I love the song, as long as you understand that there is a baseline morality that's being imposed in the universe of the song,
Yeah.
and as long as you operate in that baseline, then everything else goes. And I'm good with that. But you have to recognize that there is an imposed sort of minimal morality that has to be accepted for this song to work. Because otherwise, the total thing is a contradiction, because they wrote the song specifically against a view of millions of people, including their own countrymen. Right? So, like, they literally said, like, yo, we stay out of politics, want to have fun and all this, but this shit is so...
Yeah.
It's getting to the point now where we got to stand up and be counted. And look, if you truly believe that fascists are on the rise and you go out and make art like this, you're putting a bullseye on your back. If these people truly believe that fascism is rising up, and they're a big band and they're doing this song,
about let's bring everybody together, then you're the exact opposite of that. So I see.
That's what there's a lot of virtue here.
Yeah.
If they I think a lot of young people really believe that Trump was like some fascist dictator. I think they really believe that, because one of the things that's happening is these people people aren't educated anymore. So they don't know about Stalin and Mussolini and what that actually looked like.
Yeah.
And what they actually did and how that actually works.
That, yeah.
They don't know. They think that if Trump gets on Twitter and says something that hurts your feelings, they weren't sitting in their room watching the History Channel. Like, I used to be, I've always been screwed up. You guys know that. Like, I would sit there as a kid and watch History Channel and watch World War II, watch these speeches, watch what these guys were doing, listen to what these 19, 20-year-old kids are jumping out of planes, seeing their friends' heads get taken off and all type of shit. Like, that shit was real, bro. Like, damn. And I would sit there and look at that and be like, yo, like, could I do that? You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, yo, these dudes...
You were how old in this?
9, 10. But these dudes were out here like...
Man.
Because I'm thinking to myself, like, in 10 years, I'm going to be there.
Yep.
Like, would I stand up to, And there's another one would be, there's 1.5 billion Muslims on the planet. They don't believe in homosexuality. The only thing that Muhammad said about homosexuals was take them to the highest part of the building and throw them off. He said that. I can show you.
Do they do that with them?
Well, ISIS does it, yeah. And then in Saudi, they'll just chop your head off. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes they'll lash you if you don't admit it and you got caught or whatever, because there's like all these loopholes. There got to be 8 witnesses and all this other shit. So they'll find ways to loophole out of it. But like, fundamentalist Christianity is out in this universe.
Yeah.
Islam is out in this universe.
Because he says, is there one?
Is there one true faith?
Or are there many more? We will not let ourselves be robbed of our dreams, our love, and our feelings never again. So we reach out to all who will to walk this path with us, and all are bound by the same bond. Let us stand by each other. It's interesting because
now look at this
if fascism as they're describing it is, this is the way with the exclusion of those. Aren't they doing that with everybody has to work together? Because
that's what I'm saying.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like the idea that somebody believes that truth is objective doesn't make you a fascist. Because that's all we're saying. I believe there's only one true faith. I love Muslim people. I love Muhammad. He's a false prophet. I'm sorry. I love him, but he's wrong. And he's probably in hell. I love, Stephen Jay Gould, brilliant atheist dude, brilliant. Christopher Hitchens, brilliant. They were wrong. That doesn't make me a fascist. That just makes me someone who believes in my Bible. Okay?
Yep.
People who kill children inside or outside the womb are wrong. If I was running the world, you're not going to join my club. There's going to be no baby killers in my club. I don't give a fuck. You see what I'm saying? So like, we got to be able to disagree with people and say, I don't like this particular policy. What's been happening is the minute you disagree with somebody, they're a fascist. And the minute your left-wing friend disagrees with you about economic policy, you're a communist, and the communists killed 100 million people, and Bernie Sanders, literally the most gentle politician on the planet. You should have heard the conspiracy theories from the right. Don't listen to this guy. He sounds nice. I'm sure Hitler sounded nice too. I said, are you comparing Bernie Sanders to Hitler? I said, literally all he's trying to do is get these people some meds. Are you insane? But that's what the mindset was. And then, you guys probably don't know this. If you are a Christian and you're hanging out in a Christian subculture, and you said, I don't really think it's Christ-like to prioritize capital over human beings. I think that Bernie guy has a... What? Controller will probably believe this. You guys would not believe. I had people questioning my faith as a Christian because I was saying I'm not a fan of Americans dying over shit that they wouldn't die about in Europe. I'm not good with that as an American.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, and obviously it has, you know, I'm saying as an American for right-wingers so they could be like, yeah, what are we doing? But it's really just a human thing. Like, what the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah.
And so, like, the minute you say that, you're now a communist. There is a pretty half-famous guy in the Christian world, and for whatever reason, we crossed paths or whatever, and I wanted to set up a debate with him about pacifism or the illegal nature of killing other people in self-defense or defense of others. So he was kind of, and we talked like almost every day, and so we were going back and forth. Let's set up a debate. This guy does debates, like that's what he does, and he's a polemicist, which basically means like he's a mean debater. Just say it that way, and like
this person.
Yep. And so I said, let's have a debate. And he said, all right, cool. What do you want to debate on? And then I brought up the topic, and then I said, let's do nonviolence. And he had already heard, because I had already done a moderated debate about the topic. He said, yeah, I don't want to do that with you because then it would legitimize your position. So he wouldn't do it. And then he basically said, you really need to like examine your faith. And this is because I was talking about nonviolence.
So insane.
He told me I needed to examine my faith because... So it's like...
It's so weird because you were teaching the message of Jesus. Because obviously, like, I know you. That is not your disposition at all.
Anybody that sees me for 3 seconds knows it's not my disposition.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, for you to even take that position is like, you would have to be convinced beyond any shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, yeah.
And here comes Jesus saying, like, if you live by the sword, you die by the sword, and saying all these, like, that we're supposed to be pacifists. And he's questioning your faith and saying he doesn't want to legitimize the message of Jesus.
That's what I'm saying, because he didn't want the people that are influenced by him to hear another view.
He literally had like this big shotgun in his pulpit.
Yeah, he did.
Like when you stand at the front, like when the pastor's sitting at the front, there's like a pulpit that's kind of like this. It's hollow in the middle, and there's like usually a shelf you can put a water
books.
in there.
It's for your books and your notes and all the other shit.
He had this big giant friggin'
He had a shotgun in there, and he made sure, he put that as his profile picture. He made sure he made sure because he's like, I want to make sure folks know that I'm a shepherd, and I'll you know, okay, man, you kill people in church, bro. That's cool. And I get it. I get it. It's easy for me to say, right? Because I'm not in that situation. You feel me? I've been in situations where people got loud at church and shit, you know, and we had people coming in and didn't really know what their agenda was all the time, you know. We had that guy. He wasn't in his right mind, threatening to kill me, all type of shit. You know. We had one situation. This was during the whole ISIS situation. I was thinking, you know. And somebody pulled me aside and they said, listen, you can't tell anybody.
All right.
But I had to tell you. I said, what were you on? She said, basically she's got contacts at Homeland Security and that we had some assets looking into the Islamic groups around because there was an ISIS threat or whatever. And they're like, you're on a board or whatever. And I was like, okay. And she's like, so, you know. And I'm like, what? What are we going to do? We're going to abandon these people because somebody's going to get hurt? Like, come on. But again, like, it's the fear. It's these guys are Muslims. ISIS are Muslims. Mm-hmm. I was a little bit of a local celebrity, so I got picked up in a conversation or whatever. And so there was this whole thing. Well, they're Muslims. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know, I gave her a hug. She was an older lady. I said, you know, Miss So-and-so, it's all good. Don't worry about it, you know. And she was like, well, you know, maybe you could stay clear for a couple of weeks. I'm like, I know these dudes. You know, she's like, what? You know, that's how they do it. I was like, they? I said, how many sleeper cells have you broken up, ma'am? But they're Muslims, so, you know. Yeah. I'm like, these are my friends. Like, these are people that call me when they get jammed up by police or
Yeah.
This is a kid that I took to the hospital because he fell the wrong way. We were playing basketball. He broke his finger.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, these people love me. Like,
Mhm.
they're Muslims. They love, it's like, okay. So, Controller is saying that fascism is alive and somewhat thriving today in Europe. And I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I know the only thing I know about Europe and fascism is the Brexit thing, where they're leaving the European Union or something like that. And that they voted in like a Trump-like character in the UK somewhere. I forgot what the guy's name was.
Yeah.
But I think the Europeans, I would probably be a lot more on that side, because fascism was fomented in Europe, and it killed a lot of people. And so as an American, we've never had an era like that. So it's different.
Mm-hmm.
The things in the atmosphere that Europeans can feel and sense, I think is really there, especially when you look at epigenetics. Like, the trauma of previous generations can actually go in and change your DNA.
Yeah.
And it passings out. So, like, if a European says, yo, I'm getting something's going on in the atmosphere, sure, could be media, could be brainwashing, could be whatever. But I also think at a really, really deep level, if that was a real danger and if it was really happening, I would expect Europeans to feel that before we know that.
True. Yeah, true.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's why I'm like, the term isn't defensive, but I get very skeptical anytime I hear a term like fascist or communist from the left or right. The only thing that makes me pause is I'm like, I don't know, man, because these Europeans, like, they've been through it already. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
These are the sons and daughters of people who had to, and so, like, that's one of those things where I'm like, I don't know. And like, it's really interesting, like, you looking at the European response to the whole Israel-Palestine situation. Because on the one hand, we're like, yo, these are innocent people you guys are killing. But on the other hand, it's like, you don't want to be anti-Semitic. See what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, like, that's the only thing that gives me pause. I'm like, these are Europeans saying this. Feel me? Like, that counts to me. Like, if I'm in the hood and I start saying, yo, something's not right here, we gotta go. You just gonna go. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm there. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's the only thing that gives me pause. Like, you gotta think about that. Like, if the Europeans are saying it, like, you gotta kind of pause. I'm not saying that they're gonna be right all the time, but I feel like before it becomes obviously revealed, the Europeans would have already been able to catch it because,
Yeah.
Finally, somebody's trying to say something near me. I'm gonna get this one a 9.8. The other thing, I think this band challenged themselves a lot because they're not, that's not an easy song to write.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't look, as deeply into the song as you did. Obviously, for me, the song was just like, it was upbeat. It sort of had that, like, folky dance sort of beer in hand. Everybody's coming together, like, and I picture it like, back in the day thing, but also like concert, like today now concert, like everybody gather around, like, let's, because there is a sense in which we have to overlook the differences in other people for us to be able to.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Or maybe overlook is the wrong word. Maybe it's understand the differences in other people. But at the same time, I hear what you're saying, that there are some things that, like, we're never, like, I'm never gonna lock arms with, a pedophile and that's currently living that lifestyle.
Hey, Drake.
And say, yeah.
Heard you like I'm young.
Right. So you're never gonna see me arm in arm with Drake. I don't know. We don't know exactly about Drake. It just looks a little suspicious.
You wouldn't be arm in arm with Jake anyway.
Well, you get the point. You get my analogy.
Yeah.
But I think that,
I'm not Lil Wayne. I'm not as forgiving, my boy.
So I wouldn't, overlook something like that. So I do think that there are some things, but I mean.
See, look at Jet. People in my German family are concerned about it. And again, like, that's, I it's a little woo-woo, but I respect that. Like, yo, we've been through this. You know what I mean?
Right.
So shout out to Europe. Shout out to that band. I don't know what's going on. You know what I mean? Like, you better be a praying person. You better be a praying person. I do want to. I control. Don't. This is just like you when you're asleep thinking shit through. You do believe that there is a morality that should be imposed on other people. You believe in imposing on fascism on people. So if I'm a fascist and I want to create a little fascist community, you believe that you should be able to impose, and you're right. I'm sure you also believe that we should impose non-pedophilia on pedophiles, right? And so all I'm saying is that you do have some very strict lines, morally speaking. You would not support a little Muslim community in your town where they threw gay people off roofs. Like, you wouldn't support that.
Right.
So you have a very clear morality that is very black and white on certain subjects. And so how does that work with diversity and inclusion? That's not something I want you to answer. Or I'm not even it's honestly, it's just picking your brain on it, because honestly, my mind turns off every time I hear the term fascism. But because you used it, it made me say, well, shit. Because you don't really
consider it again.
He doesn't do that. He doesn't throw that word out a bunch of times. Like me,
I am quite principled as much as I am able to.
Yeah, but that's my point. Like, how does that
manifest
deep principle operate along? Is there some cognitive dissonance with saying, hey, I like diversity and inclusion and all these different kinds of, every big tent, everybody come in, but not the people who want to throw gay people off roofs, not the people who want to hurt children. You see what I'm saying? Like, so how do you balance that out is kind of where I, maybe we can talk about that offline or email. I don't want to debate. I just literally because he's like the left-wing me in my mind a lot of times. Like the way that he comes to conclusions. I'm like, if I was like on the left, I would articulate it that way. So anyway, this incredible song. I really liked it. 9.8. And I gave the band some extra points because I got the feeling that they're not like this, but they had to go out and they're doing this for their folks because I think they're doing it for the fascists and because if you can reach somebody before they're infected with a horrible sort of mind state, then you've won that person.
True.
So I think they didn't do it just for the people that could be screwed over by the fascism, but also for people that are on the precipice or on that fence. And hey, you love our music. We like to have fun. Think about this. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Shout out to the band. That's legit.
9.6 for me.
9.8 for me.
Lord of the Lost is next. Drag Me to Hell.
Drag Me to Hell.
We'll be right back.
Christians react to Drag Me to Hell. I'm not going nowhere with you, bruh. No, sir. We will see you on the other side of the break. Like, share, comment, subscribe. There might be a contest where somebody can win something very soon.
You win some points.
Been out.
Sori out.
Gone.